Hi guys, Virginia here and I'm back with another design team project using the March Kitaholic Kits, and this one I decided to kind of just bring everything together in a little mini album. So I'm using some, it's thickish kind of card. It's the card that you get when you like place an order with a scrapbooking store and they put it in to keep your papers straight. I keep all of that because it's perfect for mini albums. So what I've done is trimmed down a whole bunch of 4x6 inch rectangles, and now I'm just marking the holes of where I want to put my holes with my crocodile. So I've done 4.5 centimeters from each end, and I'm just putting holes in, and then I'll use that one there as a template to punch the rest of them. Rightio. So I'm going to get to decorating. Now I've had to cut out kind of my plain pages, but I've left in all the interactive ones for you to see how I made them. So I'm using the lovely purple washi tape that came in the kit, and this is basically around all of the edging, and that saves me having to fuss with the papers folding over the edges to keep them tidy. It just makes the process a lot easier. So I'm going to cover my first side with pattern paper, and I've trimmed it down to 4x6, but because I want it a little bit in from the edge to avoid tearing and pulling of the paper, I've just cut probably about 2mm off two of the sides, and then I've used my ATG and glue around the edges just to make sure that it adheres, and there we go, my first side is done. So that's going to be my basically title page, the front of the album. So I've put on one sheet of paper, and then I'm going to punch through the holes to make sure they get them in the right place, and then I'm going to start on the back side, and I'm going to use this lovely pink bokeh print. Rightio. So I'm going to decorate the front, and I've just pulled a doily from my stash. That word cherish is from the Cocoa Vanilla chipboard sheet, and that's basically going to be my title. So I'm liking how things are looking, so I'm going to adhere down that doily onto the corner, and I'm going to pop a little label under there. I like the look of that, so I'll adhere that down, and then I'll put down my word cherish. And remember this, there's a bunch of labels, empty labels and little phrases and stuff, so it's perfect for this kit. There's lots of stuff that's perfect for Project Life but great for a mini album as well, so that's why I decided to do this, because I don't do Project Life, so it was a great use of those products. And I decided to use some of these flowers. I haven't used them yet, so I pull off a couple of them, and I pulled a little white one out of my stash and just tuck that underneath there. A couple of those little self-adhesive pearls from Kaisercraft, the purple ones that I got, and a little tiny word sticker that says today. So remember this day today. Rightio. Oh, did I mention what the album is of my niece? She's also my goddaughter. This is some photos from her christening, so it's kind of a little mini album for that. Right, so this is one of the interactive pages that I was talking about. This is going to be kind of like a flip one, but it's going to kind of open out. So this one's going to open out onto the side. So I'm just showing you how I am fixing that. The squares are 3x3, maybe a millimetre or so shorter. And I'm just leaving a gap to allow for that folding mechanism, and then I'm putting washi tape on top and pressing it down so there's a bit of a space. It's probably 1 to 2mm, and that allows for the piece of cardboard to flip over nicely and lay flat. Okay, so then I'll go around and just tidy up those other 3 edges, and that one's done. So I'm going to work on the second panel. This one is going to fold down from there, so it'll kind of flip open. As you can see, I'm just lining it up, and I'm leaving a small gap, and then I'll put some washi tape over top to finish that join. And I'll just put something thin, something thin. I'm using my tweezers just to press that down so that the join is nice and tidy. So there we go, there's my flip pocket. So I'm going to adhere my paper using my ATG tape and my glue again. The reason I put a bit of glue around the edges is it kind of smushes out right towards the edge of the pattern paper, and it stops there being any loose pieces of paper that can catch on anything and tear off. So there we go. And that side's all done. I've done all the same pattern paper. Flips open nicely. Rightio, I'll punch my holes. Now, just to kind of emphasize the fact that it is a flip flip pocket, I've put two little bits of pink velvety ribbon that's from my stash just on the edges, so they're kind of like little tabs to pull to lift those flaps open. And I've chosen my photo, I've just cut it down and I just mounted it on a bit of that lovely kind of marbled cardstock. So that photo fits nicely under that first flap. I've tucked just a cut off bit of a doily underneath it from my stash. And now I'm just pulling some little pieces from one of those 6x6 pull apart sheets. And I'm just going to find some other little pieces, some labels and stuff, just to tuck in there, give a bit of interest. Kind of helps to ground everything as well, those labels, they're great for that. So just popping that down and fussing a little bit. I decided I wanted to put a little banner end on it, just to break up the squares. And there we go. Okay, so I like that, and I'm going to adhere all that down. I did get a collection of wood veneer, but they were all words, so I wanted to bring in some shape. So I decided to bring in some butterfly wood veneer from my stash and just kind of continue that wood veneer theme. So I put that down as well. Right, this is from the 12x12 cut apart sheet, and I love this. It just says you are amazing, you are special, you are unique, you are loved, and it's perfect for this little album. So I'm going to adhere that down onto that first panel. And I'm just looking for if that's one of the wood veneers from the kit. It says you are loved, and I just wanted something like a home for it, so I pulled out a nice lovely soft pink oval label from the kit, and it's kind of going to ground it and give it a home. A little sticker, a purple sticker from the 12x12 sticker sheet that says remember this, and a pink heart from the sticker sheet, and a couple of little pearls, and there we go, that finishes that off. Whoops, got a panel there, so that was empty. So this is off the 12x12 sticker sheet as well, and it's just a long sentiment, so I just kind of cut it up and stacked it on the empty spot. There's also, this panel was empty as well, so I just used my heart punch and cut from a few of the pink papers a couple of hearts, and then put a little sentiment down there as well, just to fill in that spot. Right, so this is one of the inside pages, and this is all from the kit as well, apart from this little heart that I'm adhering down in the little dove. So the little dove is in there because we did a white dove release as well for the christening, and I put blessings on the inside panel because it's going to be where the photo of, well, the stuff about the dove is going to be. So and the white doves are, one of their symbolism, well, one of their meanings is blessings, so that's kind of why we did the dove release for her christening. And also the fact that we've got doves in the family. My mum has white doves, and so do I. So, yeah, rightio. So this is the second interactive page, and it's going to be kind of like a flip, a stacked flip page, I guess. This is for the dove. So my first flip panel is this one here, and I basically am adhering it the same way that I did the other one. I'm just going to get something thin and push it in between that gap to make sure it's all nice and sealed, and make sure that it flips properly. That's working good. So this one's going to be directly kind of under it, so they're going to be stacked on top of each other. Excuse me. So I'm going to place it underneath there, pull the top one back down to make sure that I'm lining it up straight, and then I'll just push that one down. I'll trim those edges, make them nice and tidy. And I just kind of fold those excess bits over. That just helps to keep everything tidy and helps to reinforce the joins and stuff. And then I'm going to put washi tape on this piece here. Okay, so this one is a bit, I wasn't sure how I was going to do it, but then I worked it out pretty quickly. I've just cut my 4x6 piece of pattern paper. I'm just going to slide it across that way. I'm going to grab a ruler and butt it up against that top of the join. I didn't want any cut lines and stuff all over the pattern paper. And then I'm going to pull it down and just kind of mark the edges of that pattern paper where that folded flap meets. And I'm just going to take my craft knife and cut a thin line about the thickness of the cardboard flap to fit through. So there's one line there, just making sure it's a nice clean line. And I've moved it down a couple of millimeters, the thickness of the cardboard. and I'll cut that out, trim it out. So there's just going to be a thin little slit, so I should be able to fit that flap through it. I wasn't sure whether it was going to work. I'll erase my pencil lines and I'll just slip it through, and there we go. Worked perfectly. Thumbs up. Okay, so I can just lift up those excess bits of pattern paper and just adhere them down in place. Rightio, so I'm just finishing off those other flaps, putting pattern paper on there, all from the kit, and I will punch my holes as well. So I've just put that to the side, and I'm going to do a vellum shaker pocket. So it ends up being 4x6, and so I cut my pattern paper into 8x6, or it's actually probably 8 1/4 by 6. I've left a little bit for a flap to fold over, and I'm just scoring it. I couldn't find my scoring tool, so I just used a palette knife. I mean, vellum's thin enough to score anyway. So there we go, that's folded. I've taken it to my sewing machine and I've stitched down 3 sides. I stitched down the bottom. I left that gap to allow for the hole punching, and by stitching that spot over, it means that you're not going to have anything falling out of the holes of the vellum shaker pocket. So there we go. I've packed it full of sequins, and I'm just going to stitch that top piece closed. So there we go. It's all stitched, and I'm going to use one of those spare cards as reference for my hole punching. So there we go. You can see now why I've stitched that line, so nothing's going to fall out of those holes. Righty, I'm just going to do a little simple decorating. I was trying to find 2 labels that were the same size, and I ended up having to do rectangles. So there we go. We've got blue on that side with a blue sticker heart, and I'll just adhere that down. And then I'll flip it over and do this side, and just kind of match them up so that they line up. The vellum's not too see-through, but you can still kind of see it, so I'll put the heart on the opposite side so that it matches up. And I'll put a couple of wood veneer sentiments on there. So that one says live a big life, that one says dream big, so I'll put that on there. Just glue it down, flip it over, and there we go. I'll put that one on there, and then I'll glue that down, and that'll be it for the shaker pocket. Really fun little interactive page. Okay, so I'm back to that stacked flip pocket, and I've got the verse. It's just been typed out on some white paper, and I've cut it into strips and kind of stacked it down those flip pockets, and that's just the verse that we read before we release the doves. So this is going with the front page, so they're all adhered down nicely. And I put a little dove. This is from my stash. Right, the first one's going to be flip pocket. This is just a picture of the basket that I decorated for the doves. It's one of my baskets. And we're going with like a soft pinks and whites. That was kind of the colours for her christening. And I'm just going to put a little label and a little sentiment underneath. And that's it. Right, so for the empty space directly below the photo, I decided to put a sentiment. I found this one that says live life wild and free, and I thought that was perfect for going with the birds, so I've put that there. And I'm going to put a little label, little circle label, and a couple of flowers from the die cut packs, and I'm just adhering all them down. Radio, and a couple of those little enamel hearts, just pink and grey. Okay, so this is the next photo. Here we go. I'm showing you the cake. I made that cake. It's pretty cool, eh? I was really proud of it. Really pretty cake. I love the bottom tier. That's all kind of like, it looks almost like a cushion with all the little, gosh, what are they called? It's gone. Those little round things. I should know. But anyway, so I wanted to document that. It was a very pretty cake. So I'm going to basically kind of repeat what's on that one just above it with the dove basket. And I've put the same kind of label, and I've put another sentiment, but I ended up putting it up the top because I didn't want to cover up too much of that cake. So I'm working on the empty space below. I've taken 2 little label stickers from the 12x12 sticker sheet, and I wanted something in that spot there. So I pulled a circular element, but I end up fussing with the pieces. I pull a couple of flowers that kind of repeats what's in the empty spot up above, and there we go. So I've decided where things are going to go. and I've put a butterfly. So that's all adhered down. I'm going to put a couple of those little enamel hearts from Coco Vanilla Studios, and that's it. And I remember these frames, and I wanted to use them on a photo, but none of my photos would fit in those gaps. So I decided, what if I make a flip pocket with these? Well, a page with these, and I thought, well, I can only but give it a go to see whether my crocodile will punch through them, and it chomped through them like butter. It was amazing. So I've done one, and I've just backed it up with the other, and I'm going to kind of mark where I've punched the holes so that I can get them in the right place, because I'm going to adhere them together so they're kind of like a page. And there we go. So I'm decorating the first one. This is a photo of me and Eva, my niece. I'm her godmother, so it was nice to have a nice, lovely little photo of the two of us. And I'm going to back the entire thing because the photo is, I've cut it to be a square so that there's a bit of space around it between that and the frame. So I'm going to back it with pattern paper. So I've chosen this pretty purpley pink bokeh type print, and then I'm going to just quickly mount my photo on some white cardstock so I get a nice white border, and there we go, it fits nicely in that spot. I'll just adhere that down, and I'm looking for something to cover up that word selfie. I didn't particularly want selfie on there because it wasn't a selfie, and it was yeah, it was a bit so what I did was just grab a label to cover that, and I'm going to put another little sentiment on there that says happiness is this, and I put a couple of flowers, a little white one from my stash, and a little label sticker that says happy, and some little purple adhesive pearls as well, just to finish it off. They're very tiny, they're hard for me to work with, especially the tiny ones, but there we go, that's done. It's pretty, I like that. Now this one I'm not going to put a photo in it, I'm just going to stick some words in it from the Studio Calico chipboard words, and it's just going to say show people goodness, kindness, gentleness, and a couple of flowers to kind of repeat what's on the other side, and some more little adhesive pearls, and then that'll finish it off. And then I'm going to kind of adhere them together so they are one back-to-back page. So I'm going to run my ATG tape down there, and then just kind of a thin border of glue around the outside, just to make sure everything's going to stick. I put them up together and those holes line up. There we go. Oops, one of my flowers fell off. I was really surprised that that worked. So there we go. Okay, so I'm just finishing off one of my single-sided pages. The wood veneer butterflies are from my stash, but this is just a photo. I have documented this on a 12 by 12 layout of 4 generations of mothers and daughters. And there we go. The album is finished. So I'm going to do a quick kind of flip through. So the first page, there's the flip pockets, and as you can see, I've ended up binding the whole album with ribbon from my stash, and I think that really makes it nice and soft and pretty and goes with everything. Here's another single-sided page. There's Eva with the appearance, and there's the flip pockets, and the last page. Super fun, super cute, and I'm really happy with it.